Okay, ready to hop down the rabbit hole with me today?
Always up for an adventure.
We're going deep on the eastern cottontail rabbit.
Awesome.
Way more to them than meets the eye.
Definitely more than just cute and fluffy.
We've got a great mini documentary from Michigan's Animals on YouTube to guide us.
Oh, I'm familiar with their work.
By the end of this, you'll be a cottontail connoisseur, ready to impress with your rabbit knowledge.
I love it. A deep dive into a species we think we know, but probably don't.
Exactly. So right off the bat, the documentary talks about how these rabbits are everywhere.
Right. Most common rabbit in North America.
But I feel like I rarely see them.
Well, they're masters of disguise. Crepuscular,
Meaning?
most active at dawn and dusk. So during the day, they're hiding out,
Makes sense.
tucked away in burrows, under bushes, you name it,
So like little ninjas of the undergrowth.
basically. And it's not just about predators either. They're territorial, too.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. I was surprised by that.
Right. You think of rabbits all cuddly in a warren.
Exactly. Like big bunny families.
Not these guys. Solitary, and they defend their space, especially during breeding season.
Competition heats up.
The documentary mentions some pretty intense battles between males.
Oh, yeah. Wild the fighting, though.
Well, think about it from the female's perspective. Gotta choose the strongest mate, right?
Survival of the fittest and all that.
Exactly. So the males, they're putting on a show, chasing, fighting, proving their worth.
Like a rabbit version of a jousting tournament.
Huh. I like that analogy.
And speaking of offspring, these rabbits are breeding machines. The documentary has said a single female can have, like, a bunch of litters a year.
Multiple litters, yep.
Yeah.
And up to 8 bunnies per litter.
Crazy. It's like rabbit population explosion.
It is a remarkably high reproductive rate, that's for sure, which is why they're so successful.
But here's the thing that really got me. The mothers don't hang out with the babies all the time.
Nope. They make these cozy nests lined with fur and grass.
Yeah, the documentary showed that. But then they just, like, pop in for feeding and that's it.
Exactly. It's all about efficiency.
But how do those tiny bunnies survive? They seem so helpless.
Well, that's where the cecotropes come in.
Seco what now?
Cecotropes. It's a special kind of poop.
Okay, that's not what I was expecting.
It's packed with nutrients and good bacteria.
So, not your average poop, then.
Not at all. Baby bunnies need it to develop their digestive systems.
So it's like rabbit superfood.
You could say that. It's crucial for their growth.
Wow. Okay, so we've got efficient breeding and superfood poop.
It's all about adaptation.
What else have these rabbits got up their furry sleeves?
Well, their diet is interesting. They're herbivores, obviously.
Yeah, munching on greens and stuff.
All sorts. Fruits, berries, even bark and twigs if they have to.
But their digestive system isn't the best, right? The documentary mentioned that.
Not the most efficient, no. And that's where the cecotropes come in again.
Wait, so the adults eat their poop too?
They do. It's called double digestion.
Double digestion, so like recycling?
Pretty much. They get the most out of their food that way. Can't waste those nutrients.
That is so weird, but also kind of brilliant.
Nature's pretty ingenious, right? These guys have figured out how to survive on a plant-based diet in a tough world.
Speaking of tough world, the list of predators in that documentary was intense.
Oh, yeah. Eastern cottontails are on the menu for a lot of creatures.
Coyotes, bobcats, hawks, snakes. It's like everyone wants to eat them.
It's a dangerous life for a rabbit, that's for sure.
So, how do they survive? Do they have any tricks?
More than a few. Let's talk about their senses first. Their vision is amazing.
Like they can see everything.
Almost. Their eyes are on the sides of their heads, giving them a super wide field of view.
So they can spot danger coming from anywhere.
Exactly. Plus, their hearing and smell are incredible, too.
Go like little furry surveillance systems constantly on alert.
Exactly. And then there's their speed.
Oh yeah, they can really book it when they need to.
Up to 18 miles per hour. And they're masters of the zigzag.
Yeah, I've seen them darting around. It's like they teleport.
They're tough to catch, that's for sure. But even with all those adaptations, life in the wild is still pretty short.
Yeah, the documentary said only a couple of years, right?
1 to 3 years, on average. It's a constant game of survival out there.
It really makes you appreciate their resilience, you know?
They're little survivors.
Yeah.
And all of this, their adaptations, their life cycle, it all ties into their ecological importance.
Ooh, that's a good cliffhanger. We'll have to dive into that in the next part.
Definitely. Stay tuned, folks. There's more rabbit revelations to come. It's pretty amazing, huh? These little creatures hopping around.
I know, right? Like, who knew there was so much to learn about rabbits?
And we're just scratching the surface. Remember we were talking about their ecological importance before?
Oh, yeah. keystone species or something like that, right?
Exactly. But what does that actually mean for the eastern cottontail?
Honestly, I'm not entirely sure.
Well, think of it this way. They have a huge impact on their environment.
Like, more than just being food for other animals.
Way more. They're like essential pieces of the ecosystem puzzle.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
So, first of all, their grazing habits help shape the plant diversity.
Because they eat certain plants, so other plants can thrive.
You got it. And then their burrowing creates habitats for other small critters.
So they're like accidental landscapers.
Yeah, kind of, but it's all interconnected. Take the eastern cottontails out of the picture.
Things would get messy.
Big time. Predator populations would decline.
Because they lost a major food source.
Right. And then that impacts other prey species.
A chain reaction.
Exactly. It's a delicate balance, and the eastern cottontail is right in the middle of it.
Makes you realize how important even the smallest creatures can be.
They might be small, but they're mighty. Speaking of which, how do they manage to survive with so many predators after them?
Yeah, it's like a rabbit buffet out there.
It is, but remember all those adaptations we talked about?
Super senses, speed, zigzagging.
All crucial for survival. They're constantly on high alert.
It must be exhausting, always looking over your shoulder.
I know, right? It's a testament to their resilience. Even with all those threats, they still manage to thrive, at least for a while.
Yeah, that short lifespan is kind of a bummer.
It's the reality of life in the wild. But remember, they can live much longer in captivity.
Like 8 years, right? The documentary said?
Yep. Safe and sound, no predators lurking.
It really shows you the impact of that constant pressure in the wild.
It's a tough world out there. But there's one more thing we should clear up. The whole rabbit versus hare thing.
Oh, yeah. People always use those terms interchangeably.
And it drives me nuts. There's a clear distinction, and it's not just about size.
So those giant bunny-looking things I see in fields, those are hares.
Those are hares. Jackrabbits, specifically.
They look like rabbits on stilts.
Huh. Well, they're built for speed and open spaces. Rabbits, on the other hand, prefer denser areas where they can burrow and hide.
So it's about lifestyle, not just appearance.
Exactly. Even their escape strategies are different.
How so?
When threatened, rabbits dash for cover. Hares, they just run like the wind.
Makes sense, given their different habitats.
It's all about evolution, baby. Each species perfectly adapted to its niche.
It's fascinating, really. The more we learn about these creatures, the more amazing they become.
It's like peeling back the layers of an onion, revealing all these hidden complexities.
And it makes you wonder, what other secrets are out there just waiting to be uncovered?
Exactly. There's a whole world of wonder out there if we just take the time to look.
Well said. And speaking of uncovering secrets, I think it's time to move on to our final segment.
Sounds good to me. Let's wrap things up with some big picture reflections.
I'm telling you, I had no idea we'd end up going this deep on rabbits.
Right. I always say there's so much more to the world than meets the eye.
Seriously, I always thought of eastern cottontails as kind of, I don't know, basic.
It's just your average backyard bunny.
Yeah. But there's so much more complex than that.
It's true. They've got all these amazing adaptations, this crazy digestive system.
And they're such a crucial part of the ecosystem.
Exactly. It's like when we're saying, take them out of the picture and everything gets thrown off balance.
It's like they're holding the whole thing together.
In a way, they are, and their impact, it goes beyond just being food for predators.
Yeah, we talked about that. They're grazing, they're burrowing, it all matters.
They're shaping the environment, creating opportunities for other species.
It's amazing how it's all connected, you know?
Nature's pretty incredible like that.
It makes you realize how important it is to protect even the seemingly ordinary creatures.
Couldn't agree more. Because losing one species, it can have a ripple effect.
And who knows what the consequences could be.
Exactly. That's why conservation is so important, protecting habitats, making our own spaces more wildlife friendly.
Even just being aware, right? Knowing that these creatures are out there doing their thing, playing their part.
Awareness is the first step, because you can't protect something you don't understand or appreciate.
So, what's the takeaway here? What do we want our listeners to remember about the eastern cottontail?
I think it's this. Don't underestimate the little guy.
Huh? Well said.
They might seem ordinary, but they're anything but. They're survivors, they're essential, and they're a lot more fascinating than most people realize.
So the next time you see a cottontail darting across your yard,
take a moment to appreciate them. Think about all the things we've talked about today.
Their speed, their senses, their superfood poop.
All of it. Because it's all part of what makes them so unique and so vital to the world around us.
I think that's a perfect note to end on. We've gone deep on the eastern cottontail, explored their secrets, and hopefully spark some curiosity in our listeners.
I hope so too.
Thanks for joining us on this journey of discovery. And remember, there's always more to learn, more to explore right in our own backyards.
Absolutely. Until next time, happy rabbit watching, everyone.
And that wraps up another deep dive. We'll be back soon with another fascinating creature, so stay tuned.